Hello my royal lovelies and welcome back to the channel. Of course, welcome to my home. It is still the festive period and my goodness, so much has happened over the 3 days that I have taken off over the Christmas period with the royal family. So we're going to be talking about a few things today and over the next few days as well. So please make sure you are subscribed to the channel and that notification bell is on. Right, first of all, I want to start with, we're going to start with Christmas Day. We'll backtrack a little bit in maybe a future episode, but I want to start with the really important things. So, on Christmas morning, we had the Sandringham walkabout. Now, we did have one the previous year, but it was a little bit more scaled back. So this was the first proper full-scale Sandringham Christmas morning walkabout that we have had for a very long time. And it was really telling who was there. And to be quite honest, it was almost like who was not there. It was so nice to see everybody walking down. Now, BBC and ITV didn't capture all of the walk down. Obviously, they do walk quite a little way down the path from Sandringham House to the church, and sometimes in previous years they've kind of followed them a little bit more from the distance with long lenses, and the cameras have lingered a little bit longer. In recent years they kind of almost just cut from regular programming to show them when they're pretty much there, and then sometimes we don't always get the capture when they leave, although I have seen videos of both online and social media. People were there recording videos, and it was lovely to see all the royals out. Now, the one thing that I have to say, well, let's talk about the people that weren't there. So the people that weren't there, the Kents and the Gloucesters, when I'm talking about the Queen's cousins. Now, of course, they will probably be home themselves having their own Christmas. Don't forget that they are a little more elderly. They are more of the Queen, Her late Majesty's generation, so probably not expected to make that walk down. They could have been still up at the main Sandringham house, but chose maybe not to do the walk. We don't actually know, and we're not going to know because that is, of course, private. We only get to see who we see on the day walking down, but we didn't see them on the walk, is what I'm trying to say. But pretty much all of the family was there. We saw Lieutenant Colonel Johnny Thompson. Yes, he was there, looking rather dashing and lovely, making many hearts flutter and many people swoon with delight. So he was there, of course. King Charles is a query and very much, I think, right-hand man at this moment. We'll talk about their relationship maybe a little bit in a little while. Who else wasn't there? Most notable, I think, was Peter Phillips, son of Princess Anne, of course, Her late Majesty's eldest grandchild. Peter was not there. He was spending time with his new girlfriend's family, I do believe. So that's why he wasn't there. But Zara and Mike were there. And I almost predicted it. I almost called for it. I'm going to give a little shimmy. Sarah Ferguson was there. And how delighted did she look to be there? The first time in, I think, 30 years that she has been on the walk. Now, in previous years, since her divorce from Prince Andrew, she has actually been, for a number of years, staying at Wood Farm, which of course was the retirement home of the Duke of Edinburgh, which is on the Sandringham estate. So not a million miles away from the main house, on the estate, but quite separate. And it is believed that over the past years, she has spent Christmas there, whilst Andrew and Sarah's daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, of course, blood princesses, visited up at Sandringham, maybe for Christmas lunch. Anyway, it's all a very kind of private family affair, but now officially, I think it shows who is in favour and that bygones most definitely are bygones. And Sarah was walking. She looked delighted to be there. I mean, she's so effervescent and joyous, and I think she is someone who has definitely learned from her mistakes. In a recent television interview, she said, she admits to her mistakes and she knows that she's done things wrong in the past. But the thing about Sarah that I've always liked and admired is the fact that when she does make a mistake, she owns up to it, you know, and you can tell that she genuinely realises that she's made a mistake. And, you know, whereas perhaps other people who are wanting a year of retribution do the Sussex shimmy, we want our famous year of not retribution, we want our redemption year. That was it. That was what made me laugh a few days ago. They want a year of redemption. Well, we don't get a sense that their wanting of redemption is genuine in any way, shape or form, other than trying to get good PR, to try and sell more of their products and whatever it is they've got on offer. Yes. But with Zara, when she's made a mistake, you do always get the sense that she knows she's made a mistake. It's like, oh, I've made a mistake and I am genuinely sorry for it. And she does, you know, on the whole, learn from her mistakes. She's human, and I think she shows it, and I think a lot of people can relate to Sarah on that level. We mess up, we make amends, we own the mistakes, and we move on. And I think that is what, you know, Sarah has represented in years. But just to see the joy on her face, to be there with her ex-husband, Prince Andrew, who was also there, I might add. Definitely not frozen out of the working royal life, but definitely not frozen out of the personal family royal life. So he was there. Beatrice and Eugenie, with their partners, Edo and Jack, were there as well, all looking rather gorgeous. There was no weird fascinators going on. Everyone looked really, really good. And they were all wearing the same scarf as well. So I was a little bit confused. I think it was the Highgrove check. Now, of course, the Highgrove check. Highgrove is kind of leased now off the Duchy of Cornwall by the King. Of course, it was purchased by the King when he was Prince of Wales and became part of the Duchy of Cornwall, which Prince William is now the Duke of Cornwall. So William owns, or rather the Duchy owns, Highgrove. So it is believed that the King has purchased a long-term lease. We do not have the details of such, but we think that the King gifted pretty much everyone that was there this a beautiful scarf. Now, I don't think it's made in the UK, but it is made of 100% wool, and you know it's made and sold. You can buy it. I think it's like £119 or something of that nature. You can go online. You can buy this scarf. It looks gorgeous. Were they all trying to promote the scarf? I don't know. Or was it a bit of a joke? I think it was a little bit of a joke. Well, we've all been given this scarf. Let's all wear it on Christmas morning to church. Not only will it promote the cause of, you know, sustainable fabrics, but also a little bit of a joke as well. My other thought was, you know, maybe seeing as William owns the Duchy of Cornwall, which owns Highgrove, did William give the gift? Not entirely sure, not 100% positive at this moment, but we're going to go with the King. We'll go with that it was the King's gift, and then everyone wore it in different ways. So it was nice to see some of them had it tucked in their coat, some had it out and proud. It was really, really nice to see that unity between the family members and that little bit of sense of fun that I think is coming out. I do think they found it quite funny and amusing to all wear the scarf. They were all very chatty. Lovely to see Lady Louise. Lovely to see the Wales children, of course, walking with Mia. I was sat with a few people watching it on telly, and they were like, "Who's that? Who's that with with the Waleses?" No, they have not acquired a new child. They haven't suddenly had one over Christmas. That was Mia Tindle. You remember little Mia with in the photograph with all the Queen's grandchildren or great grandchildren as well, holding the Queen's handbag? Well, that's Mia, and she's looking a lot older, a bit more grown up now, definitely taking charge, and I think she wanted to be up front and centre. Following, of course, were her parents, Zara and Mike, who also looked equally really, really good. I do have a few thoughts on Zara and Mike that maybe, should we get into it in this video or a different one? We'll do it now. It made me think about the working royal family and the fact that when you see all of them, pretty much all of them there at Sandringham on Christmas morning, you actually realise how many family members there are. And in particular, those family members who potentially could be working royals. Zara and Mike sprung to mind for me. Now, of course, we have Peter Phillips as well, but Peter Phillips has not, I don't know whether he comes across as being a working royal. I don't know, for some reason, personally, my own personal reasons, I just kind of can't see him being a working royal, but I can see and I can envisage the personalities of Mike Tindle and Zara Tindle being working royals. I don't think it's without, it's in the realm of possibility that they could potentially be brought into the fold. Maybe give Mike an earldom, a dukedom, give him some kind of title, which would then, of course, give Zara the courtesy spousal title, countess or duchess of whatever. To make it fair, of course, you could give Peter something as well. I think that would be quite fair, being, again, the grandchild of Her Late Majesty. So that would be quite nice. But I could definitely see Zara and Mike being drafted in to do royal engagements. Mike Tindle is loved by the people. So is Zara. They've never really put much of a foot wrong. They don't really do massive things, dissing the royal family like Harry and Meghan, like those at Snake Mountain. Definitely, they are, in that position of Zara being the grandchild of Her Late Majesty. So they still need to earn their own way, and they have been, and they've kind of navigated that path, I think, well, without causing too much of a controversy. And like I said, people like them. Mike definitely brings something very different to the fold, and I think he would be a real asset to have as a working royal. But it made me think, why do we actually need more working royals, especially when William has been speaking about kind of having less patronages but going more in depth, and I think that is the way that he is going to go. But I think that there is a danger in forgetting the little people, the little causes, the small things, the things that people don't think matter, like opening hospitals, attending, dropping in on school fetes, summer fetes, being there for the opening of a corner shop or, a local supermarket, or the small things, the kind of bread and butter, if you like, of previous years, of previous royal engagements. What they show that they aren't going to have humongous national or global impact. Impact is one of those key words that people are speaking about these days. Those sort of engagements are never going to do that. You're never going to see them on the front pages of the newspapers or in the magazines. But they are, traditionally, have been the bread and butter and the backbone of the royal family life and work. And I think it's very important not to forget or underestimate the value of that work, because what it does, although it doesn't have major impact, what it does do is show people, local people, everyday people, you and I, that somebody cares, that somebody higher up, not politicians, but someone higher up in the upper echelons of society, the royal family, know about them, talk to them, recognise them, and care about what they are doing in local communities up and down the breadth and width of the nation and the Commonwealth as well. So it's very important not to underestimate the small visits, the local visits that do occur. So I think there is scope to bring in members of the family that are suitable to do it. Now, of course, these titles could be given just for the lifetime of the royal. They don't have to be inherited titles. Zara and Mike and Peter could also be given HRHs, which I think would work as well for their lifetime. Doesn't have to be. New letters patent could be issued. My other thoughts, of course, were Beatrice and Eugenie, should they want to, of course. The same for Zara and Mike, if they don't want to do it, then, that's a different story altogether. But Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie most definitely could come in and again do some royal work and do these smaller engagements that don't have a lot of impact but mean a lot to the people that are there on the ground. And, you know, in time, maybe even James Viscount Severn and Lady Louise Windsor, who technically are Prince and Princess of the United Kingdom, should they choose to adopt those styles and titles, they could potentially come in as well. So there are members of the family out there, and seeing them on Christmas Day, all there, interacting with the public on both. I mean, they were working both sides. It was really, really joyous to see. Now, I do think that what was going on in the church was being sort of piped out. So I think I saw, was it Sophie? I think the Duchess of Edinburgh. I think she came out and was asking, did you hear us singing or did you enjoy the service? That kind of thing. So for those spectators, they weren't just out in the cold. I think that there was actually the service being piped out that they could enjoy as well. But to be inside that church, that would have been absolutely amazing. So yes, Lieutenant Colonel John Thompson was also there, looking rather dapper, assisting the king. And I think one of the things that, shall we go? No, one more thing about this Sandringham Christmas morning. Please let me know your thoughts and comments on the Sandringham Christmas morning. If I've missed anything, do let me know. The interaction between the children the younger children was really, really nice to see. It was nice to see Prince Louis wearing trousers, quite jazzy trousers. So maybe he has been breeched finally. And has actually, stopped wearing shorts in freezing weather. So they all looked really, really good. Princess Charlotte, again, still looking very grown up. Here's Beau. Hello, Bobo, my darling. Say hello to everybody. Yes, you're going to come out on here with me. Okay. So it was lovely to see all of the younger children. And the eagle-eyed amongst you may have spotted a little bit of, I don't know, sisterhood bonding, because Catherine, the Princess of Wales, I was going to say Duchess of Cambridge then, the Princess of Wales was wearing this amazing blue hat that actually looked very similar to one that Zara Tindle had previously worn. So it's either a case of they had the same hat and just, wore it on different occasions, or perhaps Catherine borrowed a hat from Zara Tindle. We don't know. But it definitely was the same hat, worn in a slightly different angle, in a different way. It looked different on both ladies, to be honest. It's amazing how the same hat can actually look very, very different on two people. The king was wearing his usual, I think it's decades old, kind of like camel coat. Her Majesty looked resplendent as well. Now, I think she was debuting a brooch that we have not seen before. Possibly one, and now it's either one that was a gift from Charles to Camilla this Christmas, or it could be one from the royal vaults that has just hardly ever been worn before. I think Her Majesty the Queen wore one very similar in the 90s, but it was slightly different stones. I think it was more sapphires, whereas this one was more pearls. And the one that Her late Majesty wore looked a little bit larger in the photos. Could it be the same piece, but maybe the stones were switched out, or is it a completely different piece that's very similar? Not entirely sure. But definitely it was a new brooch that I don't think we've seen, at least for a very, very, very long time, but I don't remember seeing it. Okay, let's move on to the King's speech. So, once, of course, all of the family were back at Sandringham and everyone else had had their Christmas dinner, we all sat around the TV waiting for the King's speech. And of course, this was recorded earlier in the month. I think it was something like the 8th of December. It was recorded. I think the King has his own style of delivering these Christmas messages. Her Majesty, her late Majesty, used to prefer sitting down with family photographs all the way around her, and it was always interesting to see who was in the photographs, what message was being sent. Of course, we we know now that those at Snake Mountain took umbrage to the fact that they were not in some of the year's photographs on the desk. So His Majesty has sidestepped all of that drama by having his own. I think I didn't know if it was at first going to be something that he would continue doing, but last year he was standing in St George's Chapel. This year standing in what looked like the centre room of Buckingham Palace by a sustainable Christmas tree. So I think his style is going to be that of delivering the message standing up. We'll see next year if he continues this trend. So I'm thinking ahead to my own Christmas message. Mine is very much still. I hope you all watched my Christmas message, by the way. I didn't compete with the King. I was very respectful, and it went out live on the channel about 10 minutes after the King finished. So I hope you all enjoyed my message. But my delivery is very much in the same style as Her late Majesty, and it was actually my 8th Christmas message. So I've been doing Royal Reviewer for 8 years. I know. In 2 years' time, it will be my jubilee, my 10-year jubilee. I don't think I can wait 25 years, so I might have my own 10-year jubilee. Anyway, so I'm thinking ahead to my own message next year. Should I stand up and emulate His Majesty? Maybe. We'll think about it. Should I even do it outside? One thing I am predicting is maybe His Majesty will deliver a message outside. Don't know. I mean, it does have lots of logistical nightmares, weather, noise, all that kind of thing. But anyway, maybe a future message could be delivered from outside. Anyway, I loved the sustainable theme. It was the first time that the Christmas tree was actually planted in a bucket. And I mean, obviously, there wasn't just a bucket on show. It would have had a beautiful display around it. We couldn't quite see the lower half. But anyway, it is replantable, which is sustainable. So I do believe it's going to be replanted after, obviously, its use has come to an end over the festive period. There were orange slices, sort of handmade type decorations, showing that you do not need to buy in all these different things to put on your tree, and it can look equally as gorgeous being sustainable. The message, I think, was really, really well. I think it said that it was written by His Majesty. Obviously, it may have been tweaked by those high up in the palace, but there was nothing that was too controversial. It definitely made a point about the environment, sustainability, climate change was definitely themes of the message, but it didn't overstep the mark into being too political. I think one thing that members of the royal family have kind of decided upon, and that the politicians and the public have accepted, is that climate change issues of the environment are actually above politics. I know we need politics to make things happen, and we need politics to affect change, but talking about and championing sustainability, the environment, climate change, all the rest of it, is okay, and it is acceptable for the King and other members of the royal family to talk about those issues. And I think that is something we are going to see continuing into the future. So the message was really lovely. There were some beautiful clips of all the royal family members, Princess Anne, the Edinburghs, of course, the Waleses, going about their different work throughout the royal year. So it's really, really nice to see that. And of course, it was the year of the coronation. So, sort of looking back on that momentous year, I think was something special as well. So that moves us on to our next topic. What did those that reside at Snake Mountain do at Christmas? Well, they actually kept their heads down, which I was quite surprised about. So it's said that they had a quiet Christmas up in the hills of Montecito, or Snake Mountain, as it has become known. And they just had a quiet time, I think. But I think they would have been quite seething. I mean, imagine, I would love to have been a fly on the wall up at Snake Mountain. when they saw all the images of the unity of the family, the royal family, on Christmas morning, and that they were not part of it. And of course, they wanted, we're open to spending Christmas. We're open to spending Christmas with the royal family. Well, you can be, but you did not get an invite, and you were not there. You were not there walking. Of course, the last time that they were there on a Sandringham Christmas morning was, I do believe it was 2018. And they have not been since. So it's been a long time since they had a walkabout at Sandringham on Christmas morning. Of course, you know, it would have been lovely, I think, for the king to have seen his grandchildren across the waters, you know, there on the day. And we have to remember that it is a family occasion, Christmas, and, you know, there are two children who were not there to see their wider family. Of course, they were with their family in Montecito in Snake Mountain. But, you know, they just haven't got to know their British side of the family. And that is a shame. Of course, all the actions of their parents, Harry and Meghan, have made it that way. So there was talk about maybe they could have had an invite to something. I don't think that happened. I think, if anything, the king is more likely to see them over New Year up in Scotland, because, of course, the king and the queen will go to Scotland for Hogmanay, and they will stay either at their home at Burke Hall on the Balmoral estate, or they will stay in the main castle. I think they are still using Burke Hall as their main Scottish residence. It's smaller, more homely. Of course, it was the late Queen Mother's home. So if there was an invitation to see them over that festive period, I think it would have been to have come to Balmoral, to Burke Hall. But I think it's very highly unlikely that that will be taken up. But time will tell for that one. Then the royal year, of course, will continue in January, where the majority of the royals will go to work. Princess Anne is typically the first to start work in January. She normally has prior engagements booked, but the rest of the working royals will start to go back to work and start having engagements pretty soon into January. So we haven't got long to wait for that. Right, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media. And of course, do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So until next time, mwah to you all and goodbye.